Hello, mathletes. So this is our first video lesson of the semester or the trimester, and we're going to be looking at expressions and formulas, which is 1.1 in the book, starting right from the top in our Algebra 2 book. And I think a lot of this will be review for you, review from Algebra 1, but I know it's been a couple years since you had that, so hopefully this will be a good review for you. It may be a breeze for you, but if it's something that you either forgot or maybe didn't catch the first time, then that'll be a good thing too. So, all right, and remember, you can you can pause and rewind the first time through, and then after you watch it once, you can go back and watch it again and fast forward and rewind and things. But you cannot fast forward the first time you watch it with this program. All right, so let's look at some vocabulary here. So we're going to talk about variables. We'll talk about it a lot in algebra and even in trigonometry. But so variables, a symbol, usually a letter, used to represent an unknown quantity, right? And so it's basically a placeholder. Like that's how I think about it a lot of times, as a placeholder. And it basically holds the place of some value, right? And a lot of times it's an unknown value, but sometimes it can be a known value. And sometimes you'll be given a value and you put that value in, right? So variables, like it says, usually a letter. So a lot of times we use X, right? That's probably the most common variable that we use in algebra. But when we get to trigonometry, we'll be using theta a lot, which is an angle a variable that we use to represent an angle. And you probably have seen that in geometry, actually, and maybe some other Greek letters like alpha, beta. Those are some variables that we use to represent angles. A lot of times we use Greek letters, but you'll see X and Y as well. And so, X, Y, Z, A, B, C, all those. So a lot of times when we have formulas, we'll use capital letters like capital T for temperature or capital V for volume and so forth. So, all right. And then algebraic expressions are expressions that have at least one variable, that contain at least one variable. And so you'll see one letter usually, at least, in an expression. Okay. Now, one thing I want to point out about an expression is there's no equal sign. Okay. So expressions have no equal sign. You can have an expression within an equation, but as soon as you have an equal sign, it's kind of an upgrade from an expression to an equation. Okay. So that's the difference between an expression and an equation. Is an equation has an equal sign, an expression doesn't. Okay. And so, but they are related, and they definitely can be similar. So, but an expression could be as simple as like 2x, right? Or it could be, let's say, 5 theta over 6 or something to that effect, right? It could be, have a few more operators in it. But yeah, that's basically what an expression is. And we'll see some longer and more examples of expressions as we get into this assignment. So that's a couple vocabulary terms there.